In today's video, I want to talk to you about what happens when you are starting to develop self-awareness, but you still feel like you're anxiously attached, and especially if you're going through heartbreak. This is something that happened with me after the end of the relationship with the person that was about to be my fiance and then my husband. What happened is that when I first found out that I have an anxious attachment style, this realization, this discovery about myself, it was so helpful because it gave me clarity about the patterns that I saw in the relationship, patterns of my behavior, patterns of his behavior, and patterns about the dynamic of the relationship in general. Usually what happens is that a moment of realization, a discovery, something that we find out about ourselves, this is only the first step. This is the self-awareness, becoming conscious of a pattern or an insecurity that has been working in our subconscious mind, driving our behaviors in a certain way, but we did not know for sure what was going on or why we were doing what we were doing. So the way I see it is that self-awareness is the first step, because it's more like the intellectual knowledge, the first aha moment, the moment of light bulb that goes like, oh my God, I can't believe that I have this thing. Oh, that explains why I did this so and so, and why did I show up that way in the relationship, why I was triggered in that way. But there has to be more than just intellectual knowledge. There has to be more than just self-awareness, because self-awareness alone is not going to help us work on our attachment wounds. The main reason is because attachment wounds are conditioned into our bodies and our nervous systems, not just in our minds. So for example, anxious attachment style is something that we unconsciously developed in our early childhood as a way to get the love and attention we needed the most to survive. The way this happened is when we were little, we constantly craved the closeness, the love and attention of caregivers, which in this context we call the attachment figure. The moment we felt that this closeness, this access to this attachment figure or caregiver was interrupted, it was not guaranteed, we started to develop these mechanisms to regain this closeness. So we feel that we are supported, we feel that we are actually getting the love that we need to survive as children. In other words, every time we felt that the person who was taking care of us as children was there for us when we needed them, he offered us the love, the comfort, the attention that we needed, everything was fine. Our nervous system was calm, we felt secure, we felt supported, we felt loved. But the moment there was an interruption of this closeness, the moment we felt that we have no access to this caregiver, we started to feel fearful. We started to feel anxious. Why? Because we wanted to re-establish this connection with this person who is very, very important for our survival. So our subconscious mind came up with something that we call protest behavior. Protest behavior are actions or behaviors that we demonstrated in a way to regain the attention that we needed from this person who's taking care of us. When this connection was re-established, we started to feel safe, we started to feel comforted one more time. But the problem is that when there is inconsistency in this process, when we can't have access to this love and attention all the time, this is when we become anxious. This is when we become fearful. And the reason is because we are so scared that we will not get the attention and the love that we needed from this person who is the central of our attention as children, because this is the only person that we know and we associate with as the source of something that we needed so much to survive, which is love. Now, this inconsistency of love and attention, this is what creates fear and anxiety in our bodies. So in other words, every time we feel like we can't have this closeness anymore, our bodies start to go deeper and deeper into a state of fear and anxiety. That's why attachment wounds, they live in the body. They are not just intellectual. If this cycle of having access and then losing access, having access and then losing access, gaining closeness and then losing this closeness with this attachment figure, the longer this cycle continues, the more we condition our bodies into this state of anxiety, into this state of being anxious and fearful of this person abandoning us. Now, because most of this process happens behind our awareness as children, when we grow up, this is a state in which our bodies have been conditioned to because we have repeated it enough times. So our bodies is in a state of anxiety and fear, but our minds are not even aware of why we are doing the things that we are doing. We don't have a clear and a logical explanation. Now, fast forward as adults in love relationships. What happens is that if you find yourself in a relationship with a man who sometimes gives you access, sometimes you feel him close, you feel that he takes care of you, he cares about you, gives you the love and attention that you need, you feel okay, you feel comforted. But then when you feel like this person is starting to pull away, he is not as invested as before, he does not give you the attention, the love, the closeness that you crave the most, this is when our anxious attachment fears gets triggered. Now, when we are triggered by behaviors that we translate in our minds that this person is thinking of leaving us, maybe he does not love me anymore, he does not want to be in this relationship anymore. The moment we notice a slightest change in this person's behavior, we start to go into panic mode. We start to get anxious, to get fearful, and we demonstrate behaviors like excessive texting or calling, trying to gain reassurance, asking questions. Are you still interested? Do you still care about me? We want to reestablish the connection and the closeness with this person whom we identify with as the attachment figure, or the person from which we get the love, the connection, and the attention that we used to get from this caregiver in our childhood. So before you know it, the moment your nervous system gets triggered because you have noticed one of these behaviors in which you have translated as possibility of being abandoned or rejected from this person is the source of the support, the love that I want the most, our bodies, our nervous system start to react to these thoughts, to these beliefs as possible danger. We get into panic mode. Before you know it, you feel like your heart rates are getting faster and faster. You have this knot in your stomach. You feel afraid. You feel unsettled. You start to chase. You can't maintain focus in your workflow. You're constantly replaying conversations. You're checking. You're being so occupied with the details of the relationship that you literally drive yourself crazy because of the amount of analysis that you do, because you're trying to figure out what is going on, what's wrong, so that I can fix it, so that I can gain access to this person, so that I feel comforted and feel calm and I feel loved one more time. And that's why self-awareness alone is not enough for us to be able to heal our anxious attachment wound. Self-awareness is only the first step because it builds the foundational intellectual knowledge that we need to acknowledge the attachment wound that we have, to be aware of the triggers that set this cycle of fear and anxiety. Then number 3, which is an extremely important step, is to be able to regulate our nervous system. We have to know how to calm our nervous system down, to calm our bodies down, because when we are calm, we can give ourselves the safety, the comfort that we were not able to provide for ourselves as children. When we are calm, we get clarity. We stay grounded in who we are. We are very aware of our value. We no longer engage in protest behaviors, starting to chase or excessively text and call, maybe blaming, getting into these defensive arguments. Instead, we get back to ourselves. We create the peace, the safety that we want to get so much from this relationship. Then we are able to communicate from a place of compassion, being able to be vocal, asking for our needs to be met. And this is how we break the cycle of being anxiously attached. This is how we move on from someone who lives in a state of anxiety, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, into someone who feels secure, safe, confident, and comfortable with who they are. Someone who has high standards, someone who's able to ask for her needs to be met, and is looking for a partner who's willing to meet her where she is. So if you are someone who's going through a heartbreak, I want you to know this. I have so much compassion for you right now, but I also know that you are capable of coming out of this heartache, of this pain, pain, you have everything you need. You have the courage to break this cycle of being anxiously attached. And I'm telling you, this is the gift that you can give yourself from this heartbreak. Don't make your pain for nothing. Take more from pain than it can ever take from you. Let me know in the comments if you find any of this useful. Please take care of yourself, and I'll catch you up in our next video.